every minute of eating it. And when you finish it, you want another one, but you don't get another one because you also don't want to die when you're 50. But then the other movies are steaks. And you get a movie that's a steak, it's like, this is an actual piece of meat that somebody really cared about. And somebody put the time and the effort into cooking this thing perfectly. They didn't just throw it on the grill, maybe sprinkle some salt on it and then put it on a paper plate for you. It's hilarious because I'm thinking about this because my
paper
wife just had
steak. Sorry.
Yeah, paper plate steak.
And I got really excited. I got super excited about the meme I made for that. And then, of course, I scrambled to post it on the social medias. And then I posted it, and it just fell flat. It was that J.K. Simmons. And it said, the war...
I think I liked that tweet. Yeah.
Yeah, the white... what the hell are they called? And not to spoil it, but...
White Spikes.
White Spikes
No,
War of 2051 or whatever the hell it was. We covered that.
We covered that, yeah.
His farmer's entry.
I thought it was funny.
Yeah, so like me and my wife were like laughing hysterically at it, and then we race over and post it onto our socials, and it just sits there. It's like, damn it. I'll post like the dumbest shit that goes, and then when I post something I think is funny, it never works.
You never know what's actually going to hit. But the other thing too, I think, is I don't know how many people have seen that movie yet, because it's only on Prime.
Right.
And I don't honestly know that many people that actually watch Prime. I do. We've watched multiple Prime shows, but yeah, I don't really know that many people that actually watch Prime regularly enough to be like, oh, this movie that just came out a week ago. You know, I thought it was really good. I enjoyed it, but again, this kind of gets into the same territory, which this may come up on the podcast here, but yeah, there were a lot of like weird scientific inconsistencies, but I'm still able to turn my brain off and be like, yeah, it was a fun movie. It was good. I liked it. You liked the characters.
Yeah. I constantly am noticing, I don't know if so for those of you that don't know, Steve probably doesn't know, I started recording this already, so we're rolling.
Yeah, when you started phrasing it like that, I'm like, oh, it sounds like we're rolling.
Yeah. I like to do that from time to time, but for those of you that don't know, me and Steve know each other through the wonderful world of streaming. So Steve is a Twitch streamer over at The Retro Death Row, so twitch.tv/The Retro Death Row. He also runs a podcast, Beer O'Clock. Same header, so it's twitch.tv/Beer O'Clock Podcast, and those will be linked in the description when we get done here. One thing I'm noticing, more I stream and the more I'm watching movies and getting older, I'm becoming this like crotchety fucking asshole like about stuff. Like I'm just like judging movies like I could make one better. You know, like I watched the Tomorrow War, for example, and I'm just like, well, I don't like what they did there, and this and this, and it's just like, well, who the fuck am I to sit there and pick at that? And I don't know if that's I don't know if that comes from the older I get, the more judgmental on movies. It's like I like my movies, and I kind of it's like you kind of get that vibe like how your parents were, where they were stuck in like the movies they liked and the shows they liked and the music they liked. Yeah, and then you're sitting here like you could see the turn. Where it's like, oh shit, like I'm still stuck in my ways. Like I don't want to see new stuff.
Yeah, that's real. I'm more like that with music, I think, and that like I find myself listening to a lot of the same old bands because like I hear so many new bands that like just do not excite me at all. So I'll catch myself where I'll listen to a couple of new things, and then like I've been on a really big Tribe Called Quest kick lately. So I've been listening to a lot of like old hip hop stuff, and but it's just like there's so much new stuff that's out that I can't get into it, and I get that with movies too. I'm more like that with TV shows though, I guess, than movies. I like to watch a lot of the same shows. I watched The Office a million times,
Yes.
It's stuff like that, but yeah, I get that whole kind of retreating to familiarity, I guess, which that really sounds like an old guy thing right there.
Right. I think that's what's happening. I think we're turning into our parents without realizing it.
Right.
But, yeah, I love The Office, and I can always go to that. And there's so many times where I watch, because I don't watch a lot of TV anymore. I used to Now I feel like I never have time.
Yeah.
But when I sit down, it's like they have all this new stuff. We have Hulu, we have Netflix, Prime, all these shows, and it's just like I'll surf, see all these flashy clips, and hey, check this out. Oh, look at this, sex, awesome. What's the new one on Netflix? There's like some, I don't know, fantasy thing called Sweet Tooth or whatever. That looks interesting too.
Yeah.
But then show me The Office. I'm like, no, I'll just watch The Office.
Right.
2 hours later.
Exactly. And it's like, I know I'm going to watch that and be happy. So will I mess with success? I mean, I don't know. Like you said, I feel like we kind of fail to grow sometimes when we constantly, like I said, retreat to familiarity. But there's so many times that like there'll be this great new thing, or the people or critics or whatever say is this great new thing, and then I kind of test drive it. I either have one or two reactions. Like I'll test drive it and then either like it, or a lot of times I'm just like, I just don't get the hype, or B, I have the reaction. I always call it like the Lost reaction. Did you watch the show Lost?
I never finished it, and I guess to my own knowledge of it, I guess that's a good thing because
the ending is really ungratifying. But the Lost is that like I refused to watch the show Lost until it was off the air because Lost fans were so freaking annoying about Lost. And it's just like, I do not want to have to talk with my coworkers about Lost or how I feel about, what happened to this guy this week. I just want everyone to shut up about Lost. So like, the modern thing that I would relate to that is Tiger King. Remember that was really huge at the beginning of the pandemic.
Yes.
Tiger King. I've still never watched Tiger King. I probably never will watch Tiger King. I don't know.
Tiger King is fun. It's I don't know. Like I think it got overhyped because people were so fucking bored because you literally had nothing to do at that wonderful time of our lives. But I mean, that's what happens. The internet just takes things and run. Game of Thrones had a lot of freaking hype around it too. That was a show that you couldn't get away from. That was another one too. If I could have avoided the end of it, I might have been happier. But that's that thing. That's that crotchety, bitter person. And me and you briefly were talking before we went on the podcast here about Star Wars, and I was very intrigued because you mentioned that you didn't hate the new trilogy.
Yeah.
Or maybe you just are mildly okay with it, or were you actually a fan of it?
I don't know that I'll say that I was a fan of it, but I liked it. I liked all the new movies, even The Last Jedi that everyone just loves to shit on. I liked the movies, but like the thing is that I find that the people, and you may have something to say on this and stuff, because I feel like you're probably a bigger Star Wars fan than I am, just because of some conversations we've had in the past about it. But I mean, don't get me wrong, I freaking love Star Wars. The first time I ever watched the very first Star Wars was on Laserdisc. Do you know what Laserdisc? It's like these huge freaking things that are like, oh, it's too bad I didn't get this out. right over here, just out of frame, I've got the Star Trek the Motion Picture Laserdisc. I got it for like $2 at a thrift store because honestly, that movie blows. But I just thought it was cool because it's a freaking Laserdisc. It's all, anyways. It's these big, huge discs in this plastic thing, and you feed it into this player. And
I've seen various clips of them, but I've never seen one like in person. So that's pretty wild.
Yeah, I remember seeing the disc sitting in our living room, and the disc player was a new thing in our house. And I remember being like, wow, that looks kind of cool. And then my parents were like, yeah, let's watch it. And then I watched it. And I was like, holy crap, this is amazing. And it blew my freaking mind. So like, I love Star Wars and I've loved it for all my life. But the new movies, the things that I find that people complain about a lot are things that I'm really not bent out of shape over. It's like, oh, well, that's not consistent with the lore, or the Force doesn't work that way, Princess Leia. You shouldn't be flying through space because of the Force making you do that. And it's like, it's the Force. It doesn't exist in our world. Maybe it does shit like that, and we just don't know. I can blow that stuff off and be like, yeah, it was still a good movie. I like the characters. I like the stuff that happened. Yeah, there were low points in them. There were parts that were certainly not great, but I enjoyed the movies. Kind of like I don't know if you were rolling for this part or not yet, but we were talking about is it the Tomorrow War or Tomorrow War? Is that what it's called?
Yeah.
I keep trying to call it Future War for some reason, but with Tomorrow War, my wife and I really enjoyed that movie. But we both acknowledged when it was over that, yeah, there were a lot of weird little like, well, if they can travel through time, then shouldn't this happen? Or, all these different things so that it's like, little hanging chads in the plot, basically.
Right.
But I can shut my brain off and I can enjoy the movie regardless of that. So yes,
I want that. I want that back. I want that ability back. I don't know. Like I used to be able to like just fuck, man. I used to play like Jurassic Park in my yard with a toy gun. Like there was a T-Rex about to eat me in my yard, and now it's like I watch a movie like well, okay. So the Tomorrow War, I didn't think it was too bad, but like it's like the reverse. It's like I'm always bitching about Hollywood rushing movies and doing all this shit. And then when I watched that movie, I was like, it was almost like the opposite, where I was just like, why isn't this fucking over yet?
Whoa,
it just kept going. But that might have been the coolest role I've seen J.K. Simmons do, honestly.
Yeah, he was really good. He's always good.
He's so fucking buff.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So he was freaking ripped in that movie. Yeah, that was crazy.
He's always just like that fat. What the hell is it? Schillinger from Oz. I don't know if you ever watched Oz.
I never did. No.
There's a lot of penis in that show. But
is there really? Oh my gosh.
But he was a Nazi in that show.
Making notes. Go check out.
I don't know. I don't think his dick is in it, but anyway.
Well, I hope not, man. If I ever saw J.K. Simmons' dick, I don't know if there's coming back from that. It's like
maybe it's just really nice. You never know.
Yeah, you never know. But is any dick really nice though? I mean, it's like. What is it? There's that episode of we're coming back to The Office now, where Michael's like, when a woman sees a penis, it's the most beautiful thing. And then Dwight makes a comment about it being like the movie Alien. He's like, and I'm just like, yeah, God bless you. Well, men, gentlemen and ladies, for putting up with penises, because penises are the worst.
I don't know. Like I was get a kick out of the idea of like dressing them up in like a top hat and like put a little suit around them. Like you could have a little. There should be a YouTube channel called Fancy Dicks, I think.
The penis definitely needs an outfit. I mean, it's absolutely lacking. Like it needs something.
It's the only body part.
Like a junior hire, fresh out of like gym class or something. It's got like the hair and the.
It's the only body part that looks naked. Even though it is, like. I don't know. Anyway, that took a really odd turn. But Oz,
I'm going to clip this, and I'm going to go back and be the part where I'm like, yeah, penises are awful. And then you're like, I don't know. And I'm just going to cut it right there.
That's fine. I don't care. But no, J.K. Simmons was like, it's like, as soon as I saw him in that movie, I'm like, is that fucking him? That's the farmer's insurance dude? Like, holy shit. And I mean, he was a typical role for his demeanor or whatever. It fit. It was very typecasted, but I mean, he's got to be like in his late 70s, I would guess, or something. But
isn't he going to be in like a Marvel movie or something pretty soon though, where he's got to be ripped as well?
Probably. He'll probably show up in a bunch of movies. They do that with those actors that are on the fringe for a while.
Yeah.
I haven't. I didn't finish Loki yet, but I see a lot of interesting shit online about it, so I can't wait to. And I don't know if that's red flag territory or not right now on YouTube. Sometimes they like to get a little. I don't know what happens, so I'm speaking out of like complete ignorance here. But I know people are fired up, and there's like Twitter war going on about it. So.
Yeah.
Are you caught up on it, or are you good?
I'm not watching it. The reason why is. My family, it actually started with my oldest son. We have never been into superheroes. My kids, it's like, okay, when like friends of the family, but they're not really like friends of your kids. They buy your kid a present or something, they would always get like, oh, it's a Captain America action figure or an Iron Man action figure. You wouldn't believe how many of those we've sold at yard sales because my kids could not give a damn about superheroes. They just don't care.
That's
Well,
awesome.
yeah, so for me, it's great because it's like I've never really been into that either. I mean, it's cool, but people just lose their freaking minds over it. But he decided, he's like, Dad, I think we should all watch through all the Marvel movies. So we've been doing that as a family. We're watching through all of them chronologically. So not even in order of release. We're talking like chronologically the order that they actually happened. The last one that we watched was the Incredible Hulk, was definitely not great. But you know, you got to get through the B sides before you can, you know, get onto the hits. But that's been a lot of fun. Anyways, that's the reason why I haven't watched Loki yet, is because I want to make sure I'm keeping everything fresh. Because for me, like I've seen the first Avengers movie. I haven't seen any of the rest of the Avengers movies. I've never seen any of the Thor movies. I've never seen, anyways, a ton of them. So it's cool because we're all getting to experience it together.
That's awesome. Yeah, I mean, I didn't have comic books. I wasn't like a big fan of it. I got friends that talk my ear off about it, and I'm just kind of like, when I think it was Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man movies came out, I thought they were all right, except for the third one was a little okay.
Yeah.
But no, is that DC? Am I even on the same? No, that's Marvel.
No, Spider-Man's Marvel. Yeah,
all the comments. What the fuck?
Boy, yeah. The fandoms are going to come climbing out of the woodwork to crucify.
That's fine. That's fine. So, what the hell was it? Iron Man, I thought was really good, but then
the movie, you mean? I'm assuming.
Yeah, and then I took a break from like.
Great.
I took a break for like, I feel like I just like took a nap and then I woke up and there was 17 Marvel movies. I was just like, what the fuck? Like, how am I going to catch up on this shit? And then I pulled the usual and I just watched The Office instead of watching the new experience.
Well, see, this is the thing, is that with Marvel movies, or Disney, when they bought Marvel, it was the perfect move for them, because it's like, oh man, we have got a shit ton of IPs now that we can make movies about. We don't have to have an original idea for the next 100 years. We can just take crap that's existed for decades, put it on screen, and people are going to lose their damn minds over it. I mean, it was the ultimate Disney move. And so the MCU stuff, that's just like, yeah, they've been farting about every time you turn around. And I will say that like the majority of what I have seen are all great movies. But I mean, again, I don't feel any draw to go spend $10 at a movie theater to go see it, or $100 to take my family and all that. And I don't have like 12 kids, but I say $100 because when we go to the movies, we do it up big. Like we go to the Alamo Draft House where you can like order your meal and get beers and stuff like that. Not for my children, obviously. But,
hey, you guys go.
Hey, kid, you want to sip it? Want some of Daddy's cough medicine here? But
yeah,
no, it's I just don't feel the draw to do that. But yeah, for them to buy that and to just be able to, like you said, every time you turn around, there's a new Marvel movie, because they don't have to have new ideas. They can just make stuff that Stan Lee made up 30 years ago, and they can cash in with it.
Well, that's what they've been doing forever. You know, all the fairy tale movies and everything else. I was like, as I was growing up, I always thought, oh, this is just Disney. And then I found out like, oh no, these are actually stories that have existed for a long, long time. And
a lot of them are like really jacked up stories that like the story of the Little Mermaid is apparently pretty freaky.
I'm not familiar with, but that'd be interesting.
I mean, they go read like all the real stories behind these Disney movies, and it's like, oh wow, this is actually pretty horrendous. And Disney, it's like, oh, new world, you know, and we don't see any different, you know.
Did you catch? Maybe I don't know if you caught the Jungle Book on Netflix. They did like their own. It was like, it was weird because they both came out at like the same time. Not to spoil it, but that fucking movie got dark. All of a sudden, it was just like, like. All right, if you want to see the Jungle Book on Netflix,
well, maybe for the people that are.
I'm gonna spoil it.
You guys, for people that are gonna watch this, we're just gonna say skip ahead about a minute and a half. Or something.
Skip ahead with my hands waving in the air, and then you'll know when it ends. So, in that movie, Mowgli, I think is the pronunciation. Yeah. He's got a friend wolf, a little pup wolf that he grows up with, right? And it's his best friend through And this movie's long too. It's like an hour of film that he's best friends with, and there's this hunter in the area. Well, this hunter befriends Mowgli, brings him into this brings him into the village with the humans, and they showing off his trophy kills, and then all of a sudden there's his fucking buddy's head,
damn.
and you're just like, oh, like, it was so jarring, like in the middle of this, because you think you're watching a Disney remake, and all of a sudden it catches up to, oh no, this is Netflix. They're doing their own take on it because they can. They don't, you know,
right? Yeah.
But I want to rewind back to the idea of the movie theater. Do you feel like the movie theater is on its way out? Because I'm going to sadly miss whatever the fuck is in their popcorn. I've tried to get movie theater popcorn to be the same, and I can never make it the same way at home. That's the only reason. I don't care what movie I'm going to see. I get a whole bucket full of popcorn. I eat the whole shit myself. I don't know. It's my favorite thing to do. But I think movie theater
popcorn is fantastic. You know, it's there really is none that can compare to it. So I totally agree with you there on that. And my family freaking loves popcorn. When you eat popcorn, do you grab a few kernels at a time and pop them in, or where you hold them in your fingers?
Dude,
or do you like bare fisted? Yeah,
I'm a disgusting mess when I eat popcorn. Like
that's what I do too. It's like, what's the damn point of eating it the other way? Because it's like I'm going to be eating popcorn for the rest of my life. It's like my kids are going to be graduating high school, and I'll be like still feeding kernels in here. But it's like, I can't. Yeah, I grab a fistful of it, and then I work it until I can get the entire thing in my mouth, and then I chew it up.
I feel like that's an old reason
my wife still loves me.
I feel like that's an old ancient caveman ritual too, because like I imagine when I eat it, like I'm over the bag or bowl, and then I'm doing that, and all that shit's falling back in there. It's just like, no, this is mine. You fucking get out of here. Right? So it's just like all the kernels falling in. They can't, like, all the kids come up. Like my daughter Maddie would come up and like go to reach, and she'd just see it fall out of my face back in the mold, and then she'd recoil, and in my head I'm like, yeah, that's right. This is my bowl of popcorn.
Well, that's one thing that sucks about having a beard is eating popcorn, though, because it's like you'll find popcorn in there for days. It doesn't matter how well you wash it or whatever. There'll be a kernel hiding away in there somewhere. And then next thing you know, you're like at the grocery store, and like your wife reaches over and picks something out of your beard. It's like a popcorn kernel from the last time we were in the movie theater when we watched Sonic the Hedgehog.
Seven weeks ago.
Did you know that Sonic was the last movie released in theaters before the pandemic?
Really?
Yep.
That's pretty wild.
Because a lot of people were like, is Sonic going to be the last movie that we watched in theaters? You know, of course, theaters are back now, but
I hope they make a recovery, but I think there's a divide in the movie industry, and I wouldn't be surprised if that becomes more or less more like those budget theaters you see where you can go and watch a movie that's been out for a while. I think that's going to be the turn, because a lot of the bigger ones, I think there were, who just sold his share? I can't. He's a massive billionaire. He's on Shark Tank. I can't think of his name. The younger guy on the panel,
Mark,
but
whatever.
yeah. He owns a basketball team too. Mark something. Why can't I think of his last name? This is gonna drive me nuts. Well, anyway,
this is one of those moments that you edit out later.
I keep saying I'm gonna edit stuff out, and I never do. I always forget.
I leave it all in, man. People like that shit.
It's raw. We raw dog it here.
Yeah.
Ruben, right? No, Mark Cuban.
Mark Cuban. Yes.
Mark
you
Ruben.
know, it's like I was like, why in the hell can I think of this guy's name? But yeah, Mark Cuban.
So
I don't watch Shark Tank though. But.
I think he just got out of the movie industry business or something right before this shit happened. It was like, how the fuck did you know? How did you know? You know, like I could be completely wrong on that, but I think that's true. But I think that's it's just like a natural progression when you think about things, because even like movie stores and stuff are less and less. I know the ones in town here, I grew up, there was 3 of them, and then by the time I was in my 20s, there was 2. And we just lost our last one in town. So, like, even that.
You mean like rental stores?
Yeah, rental stores they can't hold on. And they were hiring. It was weird. It was, I don't know if you got the chain Family Video by
Family Video, yep. Yeah, they were still hiring. They closed all of our Family Videos down here in town a while back. We had a guy in stream today, twitch.tv/TheRetroDeathRow, Monday through Friday. Anyways, there was a guy in stream today who apparently it lives in the town where Family Video is headquartered. And so a lot of people work for Family Video there, and Family Video is no more. No more Family Video, apparently.
There's still one. I think there's one Blockbuster left.
Bend, Oregon. That's the only one left. Actually, I wish I would have been wearing it. I have a hat that I bought from there because there's a really great documentary that I enjoyed the heck out of on Netflix called The Last Blockbuster.
Yep, I watched that too.
Talks about that store, and it's like I think it's fantastic that it still exists. I mentioned to my wife, I'm like, I would love to take all our family up there to see it. And she's like, that's the stupidest idea. But like, it's the thing is that it's to be able to witness something that I do not wish this on them, but will not be existing 10 years from now, probably. I mean, it's a cultural staple in that town and in that area, and obviously people love Blockbuster and have kind of flocked to it for nostalgic purposes and stuff, and of course you see that in the doc. But I don't have hope that it'll continue because brand loyalty doesn't exist anymore, and like you had talked about, or you had made the brief statement of, sorry if I'm rubbing my eyes through this, my allergies are really kicking my ass right now, but our movie theater is going to continue to exist. And I really don't know. I hope they do, but the truth is that culturally, people have continued to choose convenience over experience. And it's something where that choice is going to be made enough to where eventually people are just going to be like, you know what? I've got a big screen at home. I can just sit around in my underwear at home and no one's going to get on to me for, kicking my shoes off at home. Why do I want to spend more money to watch it in a place with a big screen and all that? And it's like, well, that's true. But I really feel like, and maybe I feel this more as a father, but it's like, there's something to be said for those experiences and having those experiences as a family, because does it pain me to drop $100 to take my family to the theater and really live it up watching a movie that I really didn't care for, Sonic the Hedgehog? I think it's absolutely worth it because we had a freaking awesome time, and it's a memory that they are going to have, for the rest of their lives. And we've done that several times, and it's always a really big deal to them. So, I hope theaters continue to exist, but I don't know, man. I don't know if they're gonna.
That's going to be a wonderful memory for them as they get older too. They'll be talking about that forever. I still remember my dad dragged me to see Jurassic Park when I was too young probably to see a movie like that. Scared the shit out of me. I was like, oh my God, because it looked so good. It was, special effects were just making a turnover at that point where movies were getting pretty wild, and then the prequel trilogy happened with Star Wars, and we're reminded that it's fake, but.
You start, because like this conversation is not like talked about Star Wars at all, and that's kind of supposed to be the topic. And I was like, I had a great segue to bring us back to Star Wars, but then you've kind of turned us back to Star Wars, and now I'm going to turn us away from Star Wars again.
That's fine,
because I came up with a really good question. I think based off of something that you just said. What is the first movie you remember watching where you thought to yourself, "Man, I'm way too young to be watching this"?
I know exactly which movie. And maybe I have two memories, and I want to hear yours as well.
Okay.
So I remember specifically walking in on my parents watching a movie, and I don't know what movie this was, but two things happened in that little brief time that I stood in the corner of the living room in the shadows where my parents didn't see me. They were watching a movie, and this chick was giving a guy head, and then the next scene. And I'm going to try to figure out what movie this is, or if you guys know listening, put it in the comments below because that'll be wild. So it's like an office scene. This guy's cheating on his wife. He's getting a blowjob. And then they fuck over a copyright machine or a copier machine. And you see like the copy spit out of her, and it's her ass. And then I got kicked out of the living room. I saw that. And then I remember, so I have
porn, Jared. They were watching porn.
It wasn't like clear. It wasn't like a clear cut, like clear porn or anything. It was a movie, but that happened. It was something about cheating. That's all I remember. Because I don't know if my parents sat me down and tried to explain it or what the fuck happened. But
that's funny.
Anyway,
well, you know what I'm just thinking is I'm like, no matter how great of a butt you've got, I don't know how if your butt's ever going to look good on a piece of copier paper.
I,
I mean, you got to have like a stellar photocopier to
I've
be
been
spitting out high quality pictures of an ass.
I'm pretty sure I've been consistently an ass man as far back as I can remember, and it could have been
Yeah.
because of that one scene. I have no idea.
You saw
But
that, and then little Jared was like, "Yes, I like this.
I'm an ass man."
This is
But
for
no,
me."
the other one, and I hope you know this movie. The other one is I had a bunch of buddies sleep over when I was pretty young as well. I can't remember the age, but we were definitely young, and we rented the movie Demon Knight. So we watched Tales from the Crypt once in a while.
Yeah,
We would
yeah.
sneak that on, and they made an offshoot movie called Demon Knight or something like that.
Okay. Now I remember what you're talking about. Yeah.
And we're watching this movie, and we're just kids. And it's like it's borderline fucking HBO porn, like softcore porn.
Really?
They mostly like a guy's getting hooked up to a fucking car battery and get his nipples shocked while he's fucking, and like there's tits, there's gore and violence. Like I rented that in front of my mom, like, oh, I want to watch this. This is the Tales from the Crypt. She didn't even look. It's rated R, nudity, whatever the hell was labeled on. Maybe they didn't have labels on it then.
They didn't have that back then. They just had the rating, but it's like you didn't know what the heck was going on. You can watch Gladiator that's rated R, and it's like, and honestly, you go back and watch Gladiator now, and it's like this isn't that violent, especially compared to stuff that you see now. But that was rated R. Of course, then you got that where it's like tits and asses flying around everywhere, and
I mean, at that point, we already snuck and figured out, Playboys and all that kind of stuff. Like, I want to say I was somewhere around like 10 to 12. We were figuring this stuff out. So maybe that sleepover was like around that time too. But don't quote me on it. Not like it matters.
Well,
but
that was my plan. I was going to quote you on it, so I guess that's out the window.
What are yours? What are the moments?
Well, now that there's pressure to try to think of more than one, I think, but it's indelible, like stamped into my brain. The first movie that I watched where I'm like, holy crap, I'm way too young to be watching this, is the movie Die Hard.
Oh, sweet.
Fantastic movie, obviously. So if you're gonna go hard.
Fuck yeah.
And Die Hard was the way to go. I'm gonna Google this right now because I want to know when Die Hard came out. Okay, so
80,
Die Hard
89, maybe 88, something like that.
Make a choice, Jared. 89 or 88?
I want to say. I think I'm way off on the mark anyway, but. Come on, 80. Was it 85? No. When 93 or 94 was when the third one came out. Like the airplane one, I don't know when that was. Maybe in the 1990 or something. Well, okay, what is it? You got me on suspense.
And cut. Okay, I did that just so you'll know again where to edit.
I don't. It's fine. We're keeping all this. All the random thought is going to stay in.
1988. 1988.
Okay, so I wasn't too bad.
Yeah. I watched that movie, I want to say when I was 10 years old. So that would have been 2 years after it came out. Well, and actually, I don't even know what month in 88. I mean, maybe it was like October of 88 or something. But like, I want to say I was 10 when I saw it. And it's like, dude, the movie's violent and there's tons of language. There's some very, very brief nudity. But boy, I tell you, I was dialed in. And
there's a lot of drug use that goes over your head when you're a kid, though.
Yeah, well, now you watch it on, you're like, man, Elvis is a freaking cokehead.
Yeah, you didn't realize that.
But you didn't understand that when you were a kid. It's like, he's constantly, but Hans Booby, great movie. I said, I loved it, but I remember being like, whoa, man, why in the heck are we watching this? And it's like, I know why we're watching this, because it was my dad and my uncle who had control of the TV that night, and all of our moms were out of town. It was me and my brother and my cousins, and we watched freaking Die Hard and ate pizza, and it ruled.
I don't think that would be. I mean, there's a lot that happens, but I fucking loved, out of all the action movies from back then, Die Hard was my jam. I fucking loved it. And I probably watched it around that age too, maybe a little bit older. But man, it was like you got to see the hero get the shit knocked out of him through the whole movie, and then he still made it in the end. I do have to say, though, the latest entry to I was very, very bummed out.
Man, I haven't watched anything past 3 because, and it's hilarious because we're going to go back to The Office again here, folks. I was watching The Office with my wife. This is back when it was like brand new on the air. because we were big Office fans. We were watching The Office when the new boy. Remember what it was like to watch TV like when the shows were on. Like now it
Kinda.
doesn't matter. You just stream everything. But it's like, man, it's Thursday night at 7 o'clock. I have to be at home so I can watch The Office or whatever. And it's like, anyways, so it's Thursday night, 7 o'clock. It's probably 8 o'clock actually for The Office. But anyways, we're watching The Office, and there's that scene where in the episode where Michael takes the job at the call, like the telemarketing place, and it's crazy because he's such a buffoon in The Office, but like he's the hero of all these like punk teenagers and burnouts or whatever that are working at this call center. It's like a really grim sort of environment, but all of them look at Michael like he's like the king of the world, and they're all like hanging on his every word at this one point where he's talking about basically critiquing the new Die Hard, and he's like, well, Die Hard is about like an ordinary man with extraordinary circumstances, and in the new one, he's like ramping a motorcycle off of this thing and grabbing the bottom of the helicopter thing. And it's just like, he's a freaking superhero now. And it's like, no joke. That is exactly the argument that I had for years about what had happened to the Die Hard franchise. Cause I'm just like, I'm not going to watch this new one because this is what it's like. And it's totally ruining Die Hard. And, when that came on, my wife was like, that's the thing that you said. And I'm like, yeah, that's right.
Get that little validation.
Exactly.
I mean, the one with Justin Long wasn't great, but it was fine. But I mean, it comes to
Justin Long was in a Die Hard.
I don't know what the fuck they were thinking with the latest one, and I hope they do another one just because, like, I think there's still a chance for a redemption there because
is it still Bruce Willis?
Yeah. Well, I don't. There's talk of it. I don't know if they're actually going through with it, but Rambo surprised me. The latest Rambo entry actually surprised me. It was bad, but good bad. That's how I felt about it. I don't know if you've seen the latest Rambo or not, or if you're a Rambo fan.
Is that the one where like he has to like rescue missionaries or something, or? No.
This one's like on his home turf, and somehow he gets involved in a Mexican drug, maybe the cartel. I don't know. Like
nice.
He leads him to his farmhouse and he beats the fuck out of him with his bare fists because that makes sense in the real world. But it was action. It was like funny, good. Like it had all the good elements of a good action movie, but then it was still like 70-year-old mumbles fucking wandering around in hallways. Like,
yeah,
I don't know. I don't know how that guy's heart's still ticking, man. Like, just.
For real. It's funny because like movies like that, I am still really like totally there for, because like those 90s action films, yeah, there was some cheesy stuff in them and all that, but like they were so entertaining and there was so much stuff happening, and it's like you don't see a whole lot of movies like that anymore. John Wick is probably the closest thing to that, except John Wick doesn't have any of the like goofy kind of humor that goes along with it, but it's like just blowing shit up and killing a bunch of people and stuff. And it's like those movies that like there's movies that are hot dogs and movies that are steaks. Have I talked with you about this?
No, but I like that you're using this because we always do a rating system on here where we talk about pudgy pies, hot dogs, or fucking s'mores. So I really want to hear this.
Okay, some movies are hot dogs and some movies are steaks. And the thing is that there's really no in between, because or anything in between is garbage. But hot dogs, a hot dog is garbage meat. It's just, what was it, lips and assholes, he says it in the Great Outdoors and all that. But like, you ever have a really good hot dog? A really good hot dog is life-changing. A really good hot dog will literally make your week. Just when like all the ingredients are there, it's like that perfect texture of the bun and the dog. You get that little kind of pop when you bite into it and stuff. And it's like a really good hot dog is a thing to behold. Movies like Die Hard and, even John Wick are hot dogs. There's no substance. You're eating just a load of sodium and garbage meat and stuff, but by gosh, it's delicious. And there's great toppings on it, and you love every minute of eating it. And when you finish it, you want another one, but you don't get another one because you also don't want to die when you're 50. But then the other movies are steaks. and you get a movie that's a steak. It's like, this is an actual piece of meat that somebody really cared about, and somebody put the time and the effort into cooking this thing perfectly. You know, they didn't just throw it on the grill, maybe sprinkle some salt on it, and then put it on a paper plate for you. It's hilarious because I'm thinking about this because my
paper
wife just had her
steak. Sorry,
paper plate steak, paper with the picnic fork and knife. You know, you're like breaking the knife. Like,
dude, I got after this. I got to tell you how my dad used to make steak for us when we were kids.
Oh,
anyway,
okay,
sorry. Keep going.
Well, my wife just had her birthday, and we took her to this really nice steak restaurant, or steak restaurant. Holy hell, I've had too much whiskey here. But as I finish off the last drop. But no, we took her to this really nice steakhouse, and it is like a classy joint, and it was fantastic steak. I mean, again, it's a beautiful thick cut of meat. Someone put a lot of love into cooking that thing. It's got like the perfect sort of grill marks on it. It's got like a nice like crust on the outside of it. Seasoning. It's the sort of steak where you wouldn't dream of putting steak sauce on it because you don't want anything to stand between the taste of you and that meat.
Mm-hmm.
You know, movies that are a great steak are at really on the same level as the movies that are the great hot dog. They're just apples and oranges. It's just two different things. Now, like, I think, to bring this to Star Wars, boy, I'm really coming up with segues tonight, but to talk about Star Wars with this, I kind of feel like the new Star Wars movies were hot doggy. But I think Star Wars fans had such a raging hard on from going so many years without a new Star Wars movie that when the new Star Wars movies came out, they expected it to be steak. When the old Star Wars movies were kind of hot doggy too. They were fantastic. Were fantastic, but they're a fantastic hot dog. It's like, yeah, the story's good and all that, but I mean, again, it's not that groundbreaking of a story. I think people are going to hate me for this, but
yeah, I can't wait.
I'm a nobody. I'm a nobody on the internet. Nobody cares about me, but it's like Star Wars was a life-changing movie for me, and I loved, man, watching those, and just, you know, the dog fights in space and stuff like that, and the characters, and the, you know, the story between Han Solo and Princess Leia, and then you got the droids and the Wookiee and all that. It's so many great things, but it's like, I think people, when it came to the newer releases, they were like, yeah, Star Wars is the greatest thing ever, and this movie is gonna be the blah, blah, blah. And then they were pissed off because when it came out, they got cyberpunked with it. Everyone's had this raging boner for 7 years or whatever for Cyberpunk 2077 to come out. And when it came out, and when it didn't change their lives, and when it didn't get them hired for the new job, and when it didn't get them the extra hot girlfriend, they're like, what the hell, man? And they forgot that it's a freaking video game, and that video games get released with glitches and crap all the time. So
I have to say something though.
Don't forget about your dad with the steaks, though. I want to hear that.
Okay, yeah, I'll try to remember that. I'm
drinking out of my Star Wars glass here.
Just by the way you describe steak, and then you talk about a movie that impacted your childhood and your imagination. Mm-hmm. That's what makes the original trilogy a steak. But what happened is you've eaten steak. You went to a steak restaurant and you ordered
a steak restaurant.
You went to a steakhouse. Yeah, we both did that. Went to a steakhouse and you ordered your first steak, and you ordered it medium. And you're like, oh, this is pretty good, but like I bet it can do better. And then you went in, and your second steak, you ordered it medium rare, and it was gorgeous and beautiful and cooked. So Empire Strikes Back is the medium rare steak, the perfect. I guess that's in my opinion. Medium rare is what I usually go for, or lean towards the rare side. And then Return of the Jedi was, you ordered medium rare, but you got medium again, and you were more disappointed about it, but it was more or less the same as the first level. Mm-hmm. And then the prequels came out, and it was my dad's steak, burnt to high hell, with a side of ketchup and a plastic fork and knife, and you chewed it, and it was like eating meat gum because it just would not fucking go down.
Did he really give you a side of ketchup?
Dude, my dad would put ketchup on everything. And the funny thing is, like, I grew up eating steak like that. So, like, anytime they're like, we're having cube steak for dinner, we're having steak for dinner, I was always pissed and just like, I don't want to eat it. It sucks. And then when I'm in my teens, my friends are talking about steaks. I was like, steak sucks. I hate steak. And then I'm like an adult and like everyone wants to go to I think it's called Prime Quarter in Green Bay where you cook your own steaks. I'm like, I don't want to spend fucking $50 on some shit meat steak. Like everyone talks about steak and I don't get it. And I went there and I had them cook it for me and I was like, it was like the fucking beam of light came from God and just shined on me when I ate it. I was like, oh my God, Dad, you did me wrong. You did me wrong.
Wait, hold on. Do you have to cook your own steak at this place?
You can opt to. It's called Prime Quarter in Green Bay. No,
who are these idiots that are going in there and cooking their own damn steak? Like these are the guys with the lift kits on their trucks and the light things underneath, and
you know them too, huh?
Halogen bulbs on the headlights and stuff. So, like if you go to a nice restaurant like that and cook your own steak, who hurt you? What do you have to prove?
That's what it is. It comes down to like, oh, I can do it better than a professional chef. And like everyone does that too. They want to cook their girlfriend a steak, even though you could do it at home for much cheaper. But we went there with my buddy Tom, and Tom watches the podcast on occasion. So Tom,
Tom cook? Did he cook his own steak?
He cooked his own steak, and this is what he did. He got this huge fucking thick steak. I don't know if it was a ribeye or what, but he brings it over.
But Tom sounds like a real dipshit to me. I'm just joking. I'm just joking.
Pops the steak on the grill and it just like sizzles, and he flips it and sizzles and he brings it back and he cuts into it. It's just all jelly in the middle. He's fucking trying to eat it and just like he just looks grossed out. I don't know. I thought that was funny.
That's what happens. Yeah. No, man, that sounds. I mean, I would not go there and cook my own steak. But I mean, the place does sound like it would probably have some good meat, though.
It's a steak restaurant.
It's a steak restaurant.
that's where you go to cook your own steak.
But man, ketchup on steak. Wow. Okay. Now you mentioned I don't want to eat steak, and then when you eat the real steak, you're like, oh, this is damn good steak. Well, like, okay. This is some serial killer shit. Now, my old landlord, way back in the day when my wife and I were first married and we rented an apartment. I have some stories about this landlord, but she fed her boys liver and told them it was steak. And then one time, like one of her sons or whatever stayed the night at a friend's house, and they're like, well, what are we having for dinner? We're having steak. And he's like, no, I don't want to eat steak. And he's like crying and stuff. And then he eats the steak and he's like, what is this? And then they finally found out that she had been feeding them liver and telling him that it was steak. And it's just like, you're going to have to stand before God someday and tell him that you fed your children liver and that you told them that it was steak. I mean, you talk about gaslighting, man. That's some crazy shit.
I'm gonna play a little bit of the devil's advocate here because I'm doing keto again, and like organ meat is overlooked. So I can almost if it was for a nutritional standpoint, trying to trick your kid to eat something better, like there's more nutrition in liver than steak, just by statistically speaking, or out of that, but. I don't know, like it seems wrong.
People should see the picture of pizza that Jared shared earlier in Discord. This was the saddest pizza I've ever seen in my life. Like I looked at that pizza and thought, like, am I ever going to be aroused ever again after looking at this
almond flour, eggs, and then we had this day it gets worse because my wife's on a low FOD diet because she's got
what's FOD?
I forget what it's some crazy like tech name. Okay. It has something to do with your smaller intestine that doesn't take in the nutrients. It's a mixed balance in your gut or something. It's like your stomach is like spread out like this, and it should be like this to catch more stuff. So she's on this crazy diet, and I'm on keto. So we're like trying to find things that like make sense together.
Where's the overlap? Yeah.
And unfortunately, it involves like I can eat cheese, but she can't. She can eat goat cheese. I can eat goat cheese, so we can have goat cheese. But then we had this. I shit you not. We had it's not imitation. It's non-dairy mozzarella cheese, and you can buy it in your store. It comes in a pack, just like all the other cheeses.
Yeah. No, I've had it. I've had it before. Yeah.
It's terrible. It is so terrible.
It's not good.
I spread it on that thing and melted. It looked like somebody cummed all over my pizza. Like if you look really close, it just looks like a just baby batter spread everywhere, and then some goat cheese on top. And some of it tasted okay, but that might have been the worst pizza I've ever eaten in my life. So yeah, I have no business talking about food in general. I make decent jerky, and one time I cooked a really, really good brisket, just once. Every other time it was shit. So I don't know if you got any like grill habits or something that's like your little,
I mean, no, I grill a lot of stuff, but it's hilarious though. The thing that my family always asks for when we grill is two things. I like to grill corn on the cob, and I like to grill asparagus. And yeah, I make some bomb ass corn on the cob and asparagus on the grill and stuff like that. So it's like it doesn't matter what the meat is. They are always like, "Are we gonna have corn on the cob and asparagus and stuff?" And so yeah, those are the first things that they always gravitate toward is corn on the cob and asparagus. And then whatever meat is there, it's like, yeah, that's great. We'll eat that no matter what. So
just picture you throwing like a package of ham, like the shredded ham on the grill. On the grill.
No, it's like the peel, the lunch meat ham. It's like,
paper's still in between it. You're grilling away.
Look at those grill marks, kids. Grilled with love.
You have like a picture of that where it's just beautiful vegetables plated and then just like fucking shredded meat on the side. We focus on the good stuff here.
Those little cubes that you get in the salad bar at the restaurant, the steak restaurant. Yeah, that's
steak restaurant. That's right.
I get one of those little baskets and fill it full of those little salad bar cubes, and that's what I grill.
Well, if I ever make my way to Missouri, I'd like to try some of your corn on the cob.
Yeah, it's good, man. I everyone does it differently and stuff, but a lot of people like to cook it in the husk. I like to get some charring on the kernels a little bit. And, the thing, oh god, man, just talking about it's making me hungry. I'll tell you, it was all we need to do is talk about that pizza some more, and that hunger will pass really quickly. But like,
yeah, actually, I'll post a picture of it at the end of this so you guys can see this atrocity.
Okay, we're gonna edit it in right here. Over my face is the picture of that
now
pizza.
You're making more work for me now.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, never mind. Sorry about this. It's why you need to hire me as your editor. But yeah, no, it's the thing is you grill it, and when you pull it off of the grill, it smells like fresh popcorn. I mean, it's not popped, obviously, but it smells like that. It's like, oh, it smells so freaking good. Just drizzle some little bit of olive oil on it. Get some kosher salts and stuff like that. And good Lord, it's so good.
Jesus Christ, passionate about corn.
Yeah, I mean, but this is and corn. I mean. It's crazy that what it can elevate corn to. Yeah, it's really good.
You want to hear my shitty preparation of corn?
What?
So we would go up to the cottage, and or even if I'm at a campfire somewhere, like I've already been at a campfire in the country, and they happen to be right next to a cornfield, and you just get some fresh corn, and you throw it in some water for a while, and then I just throw it in the fire. And then like after like right on the edge, so you have your fire in the middle, and then you place your corn like on the outside, but in it kind of or right next to it, and you just let it sit there for a while. And then like and after like 6-7 beers, you like, oh, the corn, and then you dig it out of the coal, and then you wait for it to cool, and you peel it out, and you just eat it.
Wow.
I'm not a big fan of corn, but if I have to eat it, corn on the cob on the grill is my preferred way to eat it. So I guess I could get down with that.
It's funny because we don't eat corn often.
I hate cream corn. I hate it.
Cream corn's an abomination.
I'd rather die.
You know what's awesome is like when a really nice barbecue joint tries to offer you a cheesy corn as like the included side with your meal. It's like, who in the fuck came in here being like, oh, I can't wait to have that cheesy corn. It's like cheesy corn is a garbage side. It's
I've never had it. I've never had cheesy corn. Thank God.
Barbecue. I have only ever known barbecue restaurants to offer cheesy corn, but it's just like cream corn except a little bit cheesier, and it's freaking disgusting. It's like if someone would point me to like some really good cheesy corn, I would be glad to try it just to see if it is open for redemption.
I think
But
that's like asking for good grits. Every time I go in the southern states, I'm always looking for like good grits because everyone tells me about grits, how awesome grits are. But every time I eat it, I'm like, this is just like shitty oatmeal. I don't know.
yeah, no, I'm the same way, man. I've never, but I like you said, people swear by grits, and it's like, oh, grits is man, it's a staple Southern item, and blah, 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 blah. I've never had good grits. I mean, I've never had bad grits, but it's
Right.
like, it's just, it's one of those things where like I'm only eating this so I have something to poop later. Is what it's like.
That's what I did earlier today. That's what the pizza was. I was like, this is just turning into poop. It has no purpose. It's not enjoyable.
I'm getting nutrients from it, and that's about it. Then I'm gonna make feces later. So,
all right. I think that not to cut it too short, but I got to wrap it up and keep it under an hour here. If
did we even talk about Star Wars?
we did enough. I like the freeform. I like the freeform a lot.
Yeah,
but
Star Wars and stuff.
Yeah, we'll do it. We'll definitely have Steve back and do more of these. But yeah. If you guys want to check out Steve live on his Twitch, go to twitch.tv, the Retro Death Row. What did I screw it up? Or is it slash?
No, you had twitch.tv / the Retro Death Row.
It's in the description.
Twitch.tv / Beer Clock Pod. Beer Clock Pod. Not Beer Clock Podcast.
Sorry. Yeah. Okay. So yes, that'll all be linked down in the description below. Go over there, and can they type "camping for a-holes" in there, or will that? No, that'll be fine. Not the link, but they can say like, "Hey, coming from this," right?
Say that where?
In your chat. Hey, I watched you on camping.
Yeah, totally.
I don't want to encourage.
Would be awesome, actually. I would love to see that. Yeah,
I don't want to encourage people to say asshole.
Yeah, the 4 people that watch this, if you show up in the Beer Clock podcast, put that in the chat, and I've got some Beer Clock stickers. I'll send you a sticker, maybe.
Look at that. Now watch this one's going to be the viral one, and you're like, oh shit,
right, exactly. Yeah, boy, I really liked the episode where they talked about cheesy corn.
Cheesy corn sounds so bad.
Restaurants. Yeah.
All right, guys, we'll catch you later. You've been watching Camping for Assholes.